If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. There are places on our maps marked unexplored, but what about the places that aren't on the maps at all? Deep within the rugged, mist-shrouded Picos de Europa mountain range in northern Spain, a structure exists that defies both history and logic. Locals call it La Escalera del Gigante, the giant staircase. It's an impossible flight of steps, each one the size of a small car, carved directly into a sheer cliff face. These stairs ascend thousands of feet into the clouds, disappearing into a veil of fog that never seems to lift. This isn't a tourist spot. You won't find it in any guidebook or on any satellite image. It is a place that, for all intents and purposes, does not exist. The staircase is an anomaly of engineering and scale. The steps are fashioned from the mountain's own granite, yet they are unnervingly uniform, too precise for any natural formation. Who could have possibly carved them? And more importantly, why? They lead from a secluded, almost inaccessible valley floor, straight up to a peak that remains perpetually hidden. The air around the base of the staircase is said to be heavy, thick with an oppressive silence that even the wind dares not break. It feels ancient, a monument to a forgotten age when the world was different, and perhaps when we were not the dominant species on this planet. To even reach the area is a mission in itself. It requires days of trekking through treacherous terrain, far from any marked trails. Those who have tried to document it find their equipment failing in bizarre ways. GPS units spin uselessly, cameras produce corrupted files, and drones lose signal and plummet from the sky. The Spanish government officially denies its existence, and the villagers in the surrounding valleys refuse to speak of it to outsiders. They look away, change the subject, or simply offer a stark, one-word warning: prohibido. Forbidden. This wall of silence only deepens the mystery and raises the stakes for anyone daring enough to seek the truth. The few grainy photographs that have been smuggled out are chilling. They show a scale that is difficult for the human mind to process. A person standing at the base of a single step would be dwarfed, a mere speck against the colossal stonework. The steps are worn smooth, not by rain or wind, but by what seems to be immense repeated pressure over countless millennia. They look used. This structure wasn't built for us. It begs a terrifying question that hangs in the cold mountain air. If these stairs were built by giants, do they still use them? The silence from the locals suggests they already know the answer. The staircase wasn't discovered in the traditional sense. It was stumbled upon by accident, a secret that the mountains reluctantly gave up. In the winter of 1978, a small military transport plane went down in a brutal storm over the Picos de Europa. The search and rescue team, battling impossible conditions, was forced into a remote valley not on their charts. It was there, through a break in the blizzard, that they first laid eyes on the impossible ascent. The official report, of course, mentions none of this. It speaks only of the wreckage and the challenging recovery. But the soldiers who were there came back changed, haunted by what they had seen. The stories began as hushed whispers in smoky cantinas and around family dinner tables in the small, isolated villages of Asturias and Cantabria. The soldiers spoke of a structure so immense it made the mountains themselves look small. They described a feeling of being watched by something unseen, a deep, primal fear that settled in their bones. Soon after, the area was quietly declared a restricted military zone, citing unstable geology and ongoing training exercises. No one was allowed in. The secrecy was absolute, enforced not just with fences and patrols, but with a palpable sense of fear that permeated the entire region. The message was clear: forget what you saw. Local legends, however, are harder to erase than military reports. The elders of the villages already had stories, ancient tales passed down through generations. They spoke of the Gentiles, a race of colossal pre-Christian giants who roamed the mountains and warred with the sky. They believed the staircase was their path to the heavens, a bridge between worlds. These tales were once considered quaint folklore, bedtime stories for children. But after the soldiers' accounts leaked out, they took on a new, darker meaning. The giants were no longer just myths. They were a possible explanation for an impossible reality. The first attempts by brave or foolish civilians to find the stairs began in the early 1980s. Most came back with nothing but stories of getting lost in an unnaturally confusing landscape, as if the mountains themselves were redirecting them. A few never came back at all. Their disappearances were officially attributed to hiking accidents or animal attacks, but the locals knew better. They said the mountain had claimed them. The staircase, it seemed, did not want to be found, and the secrecy surrounding it was now sealed not just by the government, but by the land itself. Going near the giant's staircase is an experience that affects more than just your GPS. People who venture into the valley report a bizarre and deeply unsettling array of physical and psychological phenomena. The most common complaint is a low, humming vibration that seems to emanate from the ground itself. It's not a sound you hear with your ears, but a feeling that resonates deep inside your chest, causing nausea, dizziness, and a profound sense of dread. Many describe it as the feeling of a massive engine running somewhere deep beneath the earth, a power source that is ancient and alive. Then there are the temporal and spatial distortions. Hikers have reported losing entire hours, even days, with no memory of the missing time. They will check their watch, hike for what feels like 10 minutes, and find that 4 hours have passed. Others have described walking in a straight line toward a landmark, only to find themselves back where they started, as if trapped in an invisible loop. These stories are often dismissed as the effects of altitude and exhaustion, but they are too consistent, too specific. It's as if the normal laws of physics start to bend and fray in the shadow of the staircase. The digital trail of evidence is just as eerie. In 2012, a blog post from a German hiker named Klaus Richter went viral before being mysteriously deleted. He wrote, "The air is buzzing. I feel a pressure in my head, a constant whisper just beyond hearing. The steps, they are not silent. They feel expectant, like they are waiting for someone. I have to see where they lead." His final entry, posted hours later, contained a single terrifying sentence: "They are not stone." Klaus was never seen again. His official missing person report is still open. Another statistic filed away as a tragic hiking accident. The list of the vanished is longer than anyone will admit. There was Lara, a university student from Madrid researching local folklore in 2005. Mateo, a seasoned mountaineer who went for a solo expedition in 1999. A pair of French photographers in 2018. All of them disappeared without a trace within the restricted zone. Their gear was never found, no bodies were ever recovered. It's as if they simply ceased to exist. The locals say the mountain doesn't just take your life, it takes your entire story, erasing you from the world. When faced with something as impossible as the giant staircase, we scramble for explanations. 3 dominant theories have emerged from the whispers and the fear, each one more unsettling than the last. The first and most ancient theory is that the staircase was built by giants. The Basque and Cantabrian myth were not simple brutes. They were said to be master builders who possessed knowledge lost to time. According to legend, they carved the mountains and raised megalithic structures before humankind even learned to build huts. The staircase was their highway, a path connecting their earthly home to a celestial one. This theory turns local folklore into a potential historical record. The second theory points a finger at a more modern power, the government. Some believe the staircase is not ancient at all, but is part of a massive, clandestine military or scientific project. The steps could be a disguise for a deep underground base, a silo for some unimaginable weapon, or a research facility studying a powerful energy source found within the mountain. The strange humming, the equipment malfunctions, and the restricted zone all lend credence to this idea. It suggests a cover-up of epic proportions, a secret so important that a few missing hikers are considered an acceptable cost to protect it. The third explanation is perhaps the most terrifying because it offers no solid answers. This theory proposes a supernatural or interdimensional origin. The staircase, it suggests, is not a path from one physical place to another. but a gateway, a rift between our reality and someplace else. The strange sensations, the lost time, and the disappearances are side effects of this dimensional bleed. Climbing the stairs means stepping out of our world entirely. This idea is supported by accounts of strange lights in the sky and apparitions seen near the base, figures that are described as being not quite human. One local shepherd, an old man named Javier, once told a researcher, "I saw one of them once at dusk. It was not a soldier. It was tall and thin, like a shadow stretched long. It did not walk up the steps. It flowed. The mountain let it pass." His story, like many others, was dismissed as fantasy, but it paints a chilling picture. Whether the stairs were built by giants, hidden by governments, or serve as a portal for otherworldly beings, all theories agree on one thing. They were not meant for us, and they lead to a destination from which no one has ever returned. The allure of the unknown is a powerful force. It drives explorers to the deepest oceans and the highest peaks. But some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are warnings. I spoke with a former member of the Guardia Civil who once patrolled the perimeter of the restricted zone. His voice was low, his eyes haunted. "We were told to keep people out for their own safety," he said, "but that wasn't the whole truth. We were also there to make sure nothing got. We would find footprints sometimes. Huge, heavy tracks that were not human and not animal. They would leave from the direction of the stairs and just stop in the middle of a clearing." Another story comes from a woman whose grandfather was one of the soldiers on the 1978 recovery mission. He never spoke of what he saw, but he suffered from terrible nightmares for the rest of his life. He would scream in his sleep about empty eyes and a hunger that was older than the stones. He kept a small, smooth black rock on his bedside table until the day he died. He claimed he found it on the bottom step of the staircase and said it was always cold to the touch, unnaturally cold no matter how warm the room was. It was a physical remnant of a place that supposedly didn't exist. So what is the truth? The giant staircase remains an enigma, wrapped in government silence and protected by the mountain's own hostile nature. Is it a relic of a forgotten race, a top-secret military installation, or a doorway to another dimension? Perhaps the most frightening possibility is that it's something else entirely, something our modern minds cannot even begin to comprehend. The lack of answers is part of what makes the legend so potent. It is a void in our understanding of the world, a stark reminder that we are not masters of this planet. My advice is simple. If you are ever hiking in the Picos de Europa and you feel a strange vibration under your feet or the whispers of a silent voice in your head, turn back. Do not search for the valley that is not on the map. Do not seek the path carved by giants. Some places are forbidden for a reason. The staircase is not just a climb, it is a point of no return. The question is not what lies at the top. The real question is, what is still climbing it?